Back to our top story. Pro-Palestinian protesters at USC are reportedly meeting with USC President Carol Folt. Organizers, however, say their campus occupation will continue. Community activist Earl Ofari Hutchinson, he is the president of the Los Angeles Urban Policy Roundtable, and today he was out there on the campus of USC. He called for an emergency campus dialogue at USC. You can see him there. He joins me now live with more. Sir, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I want to start with if you have been able to confirm that this meeting is underway or happened between the president, Carol Folt, and the pro-Palestinian protesters.
No, we have no information that has happened, and that is why we stepped up to the plate, my organization, and others too that are deeply concerned about the violence that we have seen, the confrontations, the conflict, and even more going forward, the potential for even more violence. Now, USC President Folt has done this. She's issued statements saying, at least on a couple of occasions, she is willing to meet with some of the demonstrators. I don't think that's enough. We think that there's an urgency here involved, a definite urgency as we've looked around the country and we have seen what has happened, certainly at other campuses and even USC and now UCLA. So we think there's an urgency involved for the president in this case, step forward, take the bull by the horns, and follow through and continue to have that dialogue. Because remember, there's a number of campus groups that are involved. It's not just one or two. So I think it's important going forward that the president take the initiative, have that dialogue, and we think it's possible.
Okay, so we did have a camera out there. I listened to your remarks. You spoke for about 10 minutes today with really your statement. For the folks who didn't catch that, you got into it a little bit just now, but what is your main message for President Carol Folt? What do you specifically want her to?
Message.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the twofold message. One, first of all, obviously, have the dialogue. Reach out to them. These are young people. You're the president. You represent USC at the top, at the highest level. There's a great concern, not only on the campus, with the students, faculty, administration, parents, and others, but also in the community. Remember, USC is a true community school in South LA. Been that way for years. So really, it's really interacting with the students, interacting with the community. The second thing I think is important, it would set a model. A lot of the university presidents, whether it be Columbia or other places, they actually haven't really reached out to students. So they haven't had that conversation, that dialogue. And as a result, it's left to the police. And now it becomes a police issue and always a potential for violence. So we think USC President Carol Folt is in a unique position. She's a supreme authority figure at USC. She's in the position to make things happen moving forward.
What do you make of the fact that the pro-Palestinian protesters who may be meeting with Folt right now say that even when we meet with her, we're still going to continue our occupation on campus? If you're Folt, what do you do then?
Well, I think the main thing is really the violence. See, that's what I'm looking at. The violence, the conflict, the confrontations, and the potential for even more violence. See, I think that's the major thing. So the dialogue, even though probably Carol Folt is not going to change many of the students. She's not going to just magically make it go away. That's not what dialogue is about anyway. I think what will happen, though, I think it shows good faith, and I think what it does is diffuses the potential for more conflict and confrontation. So I'm not expecting a magical resolution of anything. You're probably not going to change minds. They're already set. But what you can do is you can ensure that whatever is done peacefully and legally and lawfully.
Let me ask you then, switching to the campus of UCLA, which you mentioned here. Our camera was there when a man on campus allegedly got tased today. We did hear that sound. He didn't want to go on camera. He was so worried about his safety. If you're UCLA, which of course is a different situation because we're talking private versus public, what is your message to leadership there?
Well, and it's really the same message, because one thing I have to tell you I was disturbed about, and really am, that the administration at UCLA, the chancellor and staff, they're not meeting with the students. They're not making any attempt. It's just now you got a campus that's occupied, you got the campus police and potentially the LAPD and lots of students. So you got a potential for a volatile situation. Now my understanding is tomorrow you're going to have more groups, pro-Zionist groups coming on. Now you've got a whole nother ball game in terms of confrontation and violence. So I think it's very short-sighted on the part of the UCLA administration to dig their heels in the sand and essentially say, you know, we're not going to have a meeting, at least at this time. I think this is the time right now to have the meeting and have it quickly.
Yeah, as you say, the importance of dialogue, it could go a long way. We thank you so much for your perspective tonight, sir. Earl Ofari Hutchinson, community activist. Thank you so much.
And thank you. My pleasure.